Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan if you're new here, and I really like handbags. All kinds of handbags, vintage handbags, new handbags, old handbags, thrifted handbags, inexpensive handbags, really expensive handbags. I just like them. I want them to be a fun color. I like it when they're black. I like it when they're white. I like it when they're crossbody. I like it when they're handheld. I just really enjoy handbags. So obviously, whenever there is a brand that is heavily sponsored on YouTube, I have to check it out. Now, to be fair, I have kind of ignored this brand for years. Like, I would look at it 1 to 2 times a year. I'm of course talking about POLÈNE. You'd have seen that in the title already, but I guess I should say it. And also, I'm going to just keep saying POLÈNE. If you know if it's Pauline versus POLÈNE, please let me know. I don't speak any French. I tried to look up similar words in French to hear how that ending would be pronounced, and I'm really just not sure. So I'm going to keep saying POLÈNE. Please correct me if you speak fluent French, because I'd love to know. But I have essentially looked at this brand 1 to 2 times a year, every single year, for a few years now. And it was only when the beautiful and brilliant, lovely Emma Anders got this bag that I thought, okay, well, she got a different one, but she tested out the brand and that was all I needed to know. Good enough for me. She's actually the one who got me into the handbag side of YouTube. Oh, gateway drug. That's what she is, but she's amazing. I love her videos so much. And she just, like, she speaks her mind. I like that I can always trust what she's going to say because these bags are so heavily gifted and you never really know what to make of that information. I swear I'm going to get into the reveal. Wait, I'll just do it right now. I'm not getting paid for this. Look, here is the bag. This is the numbèro 1, or the number 1. It came in this box. Quite the reveal. Okay, so I did film the unboxing. I did it on my phone last night. It was very dark, but I might put it at the very end of this video. If you'd like to see it, I'll have to see what kind of quality we're dealing with because it was very dark, the cats were jumping everywhere, and I just had my phone propped up on the ground. But really, there's not much to see. There was no ribbon or anything, and that is totally fine by me. It was in a simple package, simple brown cardboard box with this nestled inside. Take off the lovely lid with the gold writing, and then you have this very simple package. There was no extra packaging around the bag, except for, sorry, it was in this dust bag. This was the extra cushioning around the bag, but what I meant to say was there was no extra wrapping. There was no bubble wrap or anything like that. When I got my Coach bag, it took me ages and a pair of scissors to get all of the little bits, and it arrived in perfect condition, so it's really nice that it didn't need to be any more wasteful, you know, with extra packaging. So yeah, it arrived in great condition. But as I was saying, these bags are so heavily sponsored and it's hard to know really how someone feels about it. I don't believe that it's possible to give an objective review, we all have our own perspective, right? And how much you pay for something or not pay influences your perception of that bag. For example, I am so much more forgiving of a bag having wear and tear or just maybe not the best longevity if it is less expensive versus like a $1,000, $2,000 bag. And the only reason I bring up the luxury side of this is because POLÈNE is often, it's often presented as like this incredibly luxurious, beautiful bag made in Spain, handmade in Spain, with, you know, really nice quality leather, but without the really high luxury price tag. Now, I do have some thoughts on that, but I'm going to save it. Basically, what I can tell you right now is that I'm very happy with this. I'm very happy with the price I paid. I think the pricing is fair. This was $320. There is a $20 shipping fee, but that actually ended up being refunded to me because it took about a week and a half for them to send out the bag, and then it was obviously an additional 4 or 5 days for it to reach me from Spain. Now, once it was sent out, it was very quick. I couldn't believe it. I was checking the DHL site every single day and looking at the tracking because I was so excited. But after a week, when I hadn't heard anything now, this is just mostly because we've been so spoiled, but we are dealing with a global pandemic still. There are shipping delays. There are things that are way more important getting delayed versus handbags. So I was not at all bothered by that, but I reached out to Pollen just to make sure that everything had gone through with my order. Sorry, my cat might start meowing. Stinky. I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm gonna try and keep going. Oh, so where was I? I always get distracted when the cats start meowing. But basically, I didn't hear anything for a week and a half. I reached out to Pollen. They were so lovely and gracious. They got back to me within 5 minutes of my email. I was emailing during business hours, but still that was really, really fast. And, you know, they were like, we're so sorry, you know, we are having issues with our usual carrier. We'll update you as soon as we know. I have seen reviews recently where people are like, oh my goodness, it took so long to send out. Do you know what's going on in the world? Like, there are people who can't get food, okay? I digress. But basically, me waiting a week and a half for a shipping email was not a big deal. But Pauline graciously refunded my shipping fee. They, you know, I think they were like, as a token of our appreciation or something like that, we're going to refund you your shipping fee. I didn't ask for that. It was just really nice that they immediately offered it. And then it was a few days later and I did get a shipping notification. So I received this last night at 8:30 p.m. It is now, what time is it? It is 9:20. So I have just had this for over 12 hours and I really, really like it. Most of the time I was asleep, so I can't really tell you very much about this bag. Obviously, I haven't had time to use it, but I love the color. It was very well represented online, which I think is something very difficult about this color. I did pick up the lilac and it can look very different in different lights. I know that Emma also got this same bag color. Sorry, I keep saying bag. She got the lovely tote, which I think is so cute. It kind of reminds me of a lotus flower when it's all folded up. But I loved the color on her. She always wears a lot of navy and it really popped against that. She also styled it with a leather jacket, which was super cool. And I really liked how this lilac showed up. It's coming off a little bit, tell me if I'm wrong, but to me, when I'm looking in the viewfinder, it looks a little like mauvey pink. But it can just really be very different in different lights. Sometimes it's more pink, sometimes it's more purpley lilac. And then other times it just looks like a rosy nude. So I definitely appreciate that. I wanted something that was like a soft neutral, but also could be worn casually with jeans. It is a small bag. I like mini bags. Many of my bags don't even have to fit a phone. But this is quite small. I do keep them in their dust bag. I try to keep my bags, regardless of the price, in as good a condition as I can. It comes with tissue paper on the inside and a 100% cotton lining, which I also really like. It's like in this really pretty deep red burgundy shade with a slip pocket in the back. There is a slip pocket on the back of the bag, but I can't really see a reason to use it. If I was, let's say, still living in DC, I would potentially put my Metro card in there and see if I can just scan it through the bag. A few cons that I noticed. Well, okay, this isn't a con, but I figure I should mention it. I'm never going to button these up. I don't see a reason to. It looks totally normal when you have the magnet in place. I like that there's no standout hardware. See, I told you I was gonna say the cons and I started listing things I like. You definitely cannot fit your arm through this comfortably. Like, it can't sit in the nook of my arm. I'd have to have teeny tiny arms, but that's not going to change. So I like that I can still hold it comfortably, and this sits nicely on me crossbody. But that leads me into the strap. This is a very nice handbag. It feels like a lovely quality, but I think it's in a good price range for what it is. I don't think I would pay $800 for this handbag, and considering that I've heard returns are very, very difficult, I'm certainly glad I don't have any issues with this. But if I had paid $800, and this kind of relates back to what I was saying about how what you pay influences influences how you see a bag or not pay, you know? I think people are just more forgiving of teeny tiny little irritations, and it's more forgiving of wear and tear. So I think it's a lovely quality. I love that it has Polène written on all the hardware. It's even written on all the teeny tiny little feet. The bag feels quite sturdy, but it is quite hard. The leather is really hard, very stiff. Not a complaint necessarily. I hope that that means it's pretty hard wearing. But something I want to mention about the strap, it's very stiff. It's quite rough. It was the first thing I noticed. And there are sharp ridges on it. It took me a moment to think about, but I think it's a combination of two things. One, I think it's the stitching. And two, where the glazing is this, you know, this paint stuff along the leather. It seals the leather edges so that moisture and stuff can't get into it. But this glazing, where it meets the leather, there's a really sharp, teeny tiny, I mean, it's so thin, you can't see it, but you can feel it, like with your more sensitive fingertips. Like, there's a teeny tiny sharp ridge where the glazing meets the leather. And the only reason I mention that, because it's totally not a big deal. It doesn't make me think worse of this bag, obviously. The only reason I mention it is because I've had handbags like that before. And when I wore them cross-body over more delicate fabrics, just that teeny tiny little bit of sharpness would snag more delicate fabrics. And I have ruined several silk shirts that way. This was years ago, but it took me a few times to learn my lesson. I find that some Madewell bags feel like this, if that helps anyone know what I'm talking about, because it really is hard to describe. It's just a really subtle texture thing, but I know that if I were to wear this crossbody against one of my silky tops, it would just slowly snag at the fabric, and you'd get that like fuzzy, that fuzzy looking thing from all the threads getting pulled. So that is not a con, but worth mentioning. One potential con for someone is this is not the most size inclusive strap. Now, I personally like where this sits crossbody on me. I am gonna have mod shots later so that you can see where it falls on my hip. This is the adjustment that it came in. So as you can see, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 holes. This one's actually covered up just with that. Yeah, there you go. So this is what it came in. There is one more adjustment. I don't particularly want to move it because these are so stiff and it sits at a fine spot on me. I'll try to have information if I can in the description box about the different drop lengths. I'll certainly have the one that I have it at, but my estimate is that you're only going to get in drop maybe an extra 1.5 inches out of putting it on the longest setting. Here's why I mentioned that. I am 5'5" and I'm a US size like 4 to 6 typically. Now obviously where it falls on me is it's completely dependent on like the circumference of my hips, my chest, my height, all those things. And I don't think this is the most size inclusive strap. If someone was much taller, if they were curvier, just a different shape than me, it might sit too high for their liking. Now, one nice thing is that I think this still looks really nice on the shoulder. If I was gonna wear it on the shoulder, I would make it shorter than I have it now, but I've tested it and like it doesn't sit like this, which was my main concern. When you're wearing it on the shoulder, it still sits up nice and straight, and the shoulder, the strap doesn't slip off my shoulder. Something I would love for Polène to do is to offer 2 different size straps with this. And I'm not saying send them out, but when you're ordering, I think that they would blow it out of the water if they offered you 2 different size straps, 2 different drop lengths. They can clearly tell you the measurements. This would knock so many luxury brands away. Like, that is the #1 complaint with so many luxury brands, that you are paying this insane price, and oftentimes you are getting a strap that doesn't suit you unless you're just one particular size, one particular height. So many people, like, straps are either too long or too short. That is the one thing that everybody complains about the classic flap, and that bag is going for like $10,000. That is insane. So Polène could just be a champion if they offered 2 different straps. Even if it was just for, like, let's say their most popular colors. Polène, if you're watching this, take your most sold color handbags and offer 2 different size straps, because people would love you for it. People would be obsessed if you did that. It would be amazing. Now, this certainly works for me. I think it will obviously suit different heights, but it's just something that I thought I would mention. I do love the quality of this. I think it really looks cute handheld, on the shoulder, or crossbody. I think it isn't trying to be too many things, except just a really cute handbag. This actually really reminds me of a cross between the Valextra Acide and the Celine belt bag. Actually, a few of their designs, they really do remind me of Celine, in a good way. Very simple, just kind of classy. I think what most Americans would associate with French elegance. I definitely see that in these bags. Okay, here I am talking on, and this is getting a little bit too chatty for first impressions, but please let me know if you have any other questions, if you have considered getting this bag. The thing I love most about them are the color options. I like that it's pretty obvious what you're gonna get just from online, their website, I mean. Yeah, I don't really have any other things to say because obviously I haven't used it, but I will be doing a 1-month review. I'll probably do a 1-year review, because how these things hold up, that's one more thing I wanted to say. Here we go. How these things hold up is so important when it comes to pricing. I think it would be a huge mistake for Polène to get a little too big for their britches and raise their prices to like $600, $800, even more than that. Stinky Bear, can you please wait just 2 more minutes and then I'm gonna be done? He's not gonna wait. He never listens to me. Oh, mouthy child. Okay. As I was saying, I think it would be a big mistake for them to raise their prices too much. I am so interested in the number 10 bag because you can wear it on the shoulder and you can wear it crossbody. It's a really nice zipped up style with that kind of like that nod to that half moon shape while still being pretty classic looking. I have heard that there are issues with how the leather straps wear because of how they link together. I'll put up a picture of that bag, but the straps kind of like link together, attached to the bag like this, and where those 2 straps, those leather pieces connect, I've heard that people have had leather peeling issues. I certainly hope that doesn't happen with this bag, but if it were going to happen everywhere, anywhere, it could potentially happen here. I am really interested in that handbag. I just want to say my overall opinion is that I like this. I am very happy with it. I'm absolutely tempted to order another Polène bag, like I just said with that numero 10. I am concerned about how it will wear, so I'll certainly update you. When bags have a higher price tag, people understandably have higher expectations for the longevity and customer service. Basically, if something goes wrong a year down the line, you expect them to fix it. Those peeling issues, the one video I saw for it, they said that that leather peeling issue happened after 1 wear. If that happened for a bag going for $1,000, you would bring it back into boutique and you would expect some kind of compensation. You would expect them to fix it. There would be something. It wouldn't just be like, man, that's too bad. And my understanding from unsponsored reviews is that's essentially been Polène's reaction. When brands raise their prices, they take on additional responsibilities. Now, I know some people will think like, well, why wouldn't a brand want to sell their bag for $1,000 if they could? I actually don't think that's true. I think a lot of brands are very happy staying in that, you know, $200 to $500 range because it just means less responsibility. So I think that is everything I had to say about this bag. I'm very happy with it. That's the main takeaway. I love the color. If you're thinking about like just a really nice neutral color, and they also have some pretty fun shapes, like kind of like the bucket bag. I really like it in the mint green. But I'm really tempted to get a different Polène bag, but in a white or a neutral, especially if you're nervous about white bags or just lighter color bags in general. I think this is a really good stop because they seem to be really hard wearing. The leather feels pretty sturdy. It's a nice, it's a really nice texture, and also it's a good price point, I think, to dabble in lighter colored bags. I'm personally very comfortable with them now. I love white bags. I like cream colored bags, but that is all I will say on this. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you're curious about the brand, I'll do my best to answer, but like I said, I'm just getting familiar. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.